What's going on, everybody? Welcome into the Blazers Uprise Postgame Show powered by BetUS. Today, your Portland Trail Blazers win their fifth game out of their last six as they beat Dame in the Bucks by a final score of 125-112. This was an impressive victory. Probably more impressive of a victory than any of them on their four-game winning streak, as they take down a Bucks team that had been playing better basketball. You wouldn't know it from tonight, though, especially in that second half, as Denny Avdia goes off for 30 points. He has looked phenomenal the past two games. He's looked like a star the last couple of games. Maybe we have to have another conversation about what his true ceiling is. But you also had Anthony Simons, who struggled to start this game. He ended up going nuclear there in the second quarter and had 25 points on the game, hit some very difficult jumpers. DeAndre Ayton had himself a game, 21 points, 14 boards, and a block of Giannis Antetokounmpo. We get to talk about him because there was two DeAndre Aytons I saw on the floor tonight. I went to the game. I sat very close to courtside. One of the reasons why I wanted to was I wanted to observe DeAndre Ayton, and I have a lot of thoughts, some good and some bad tonight from him. And then Shane Sharp off the bench. Nice to see him hit some jump shots, had 17 in 31 minutes of play. And, of course, we're also going to break down trade talk tonight as you have De'Aaron Fox rumors. You have Jimmy Butler rumors, and it sounds like this deadline is going to be a little crazier than we thought. Eric, what's going on, man? How is what's today, Tuesday?
Tuesday's good.
Normally I have Rec League on Tuesday and Thursday, so without going to Rec League tonight, it was I lost track of the day. So how's your day going, though?
Oh, not too bad. I think it's safe to say the Blazers dominate Dame and the Bucks. Like we have their number.
Yeah, 3 wins in a row against the Milwaukee Bucks, man. And Dame got going early too in this one, and then the Blazers did a good job taking him out of it, or maybe the Bucks did a good job taking him out of it. I don't really know what to think. It was very strange. So before we jump into the post-game show, we got to shout out a couple donations and some gifted membership. Shout out to Josh Sargent, $10 donation, says, "Yo, go Blazers, this trade work? Bucks get Jeremy Grant, Robert Williams III, Trailblazers get Chris Middleton, Bobby Portis, and a first-round pick." Yeah, that does work because Bobby Portis is actually making a little more than that right now. Middleton's making more than Grant. Portis is making more than Robert Williams. That's why that trade works. And, the Chris Middleton was basically an afterthought tonight. He's been coming off the bench, played only 15 minutes, Eric. Did not score. 0 for 2. So I think at this point, maybe that's the trade destination for Jeremy Grant, is the Blazers get back Chris Middleton, because he seems like he's fallen out of favor there.
Oh, well, actually, they played back-to-back last night, and he's on a minutes restriction on the second night of a back-to-back. And
that makes more sense.
May have tweaked his ankle again, but he played the most minutes he played all season last night. So
Gotcha. That makes more sense. But played 27 minutes last night. Nah, he had a 31 in a 28-minute game earlier in December. So he's been playing since early December. So I don't know. Yeah, second night of a back-to-back. Just felt like he wasn't even involved in their offense. He had a 0-point in 19-minute game against the Clippers 3 games ago. He went off yesterday for a season high 22 against Utah. But yeah, the kind of talk right now is that Chris Middleton they're going to look to move him, use his salary to bring something on, and that something, maybe, hopefully for the Blazers' sake, is Jeremy Grant.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if we're getting a first out of that trade, but
give us all the picks, all the Milwaukee picks.
Yeah, I mean, I'll take a first, but
yeah. Thank you, Josh, for the donation. Shout out to Adir Shimshon with a 15. Eric, we need a currency check. I don't know what that currency is. Is that the? Not sure. I need a currency chart.
Israeli.
Yeah, I need a currency chart. But Adir with the 15 donation says, "I love Denny Avdia. I want to apologize to all Blazer fans for him ruining your tanking season, but the fans of his home country are really having a blast." Yeah, Shekel. There you go. Thank you, Eric, and appreciate the donation.
Thank you,
listen,
chat.
man. The Blazers at the end of the year are going to tank. They're going to have to sit Denny to tank because he's that good right now. And it is really fun to watch him, especially in person, man. He's becoming the heart and soul of this team. I truly believe that, the The hand in front of the face thing was funny. Like everybody on the court, at least on the Blazers side of things, was cracking up about it. But he just plays so hard, man. And Avdia and Kamara are just absolute pests, and you could tell that they were annoying Milwaukee. I mean, even early on, you had Taurean Prince with a dirty transition foul where he just ran right into Denny Avdia, was called a flagrant. And, yeah, you could tell early on that Avdia was bothering Taurean Prince, and then Kamara picking up Dame full court, making him work just to bring the ball up the court. I love those two guys because they're pests, man. They're really good defensively, but they also just consistently bring it, which is great.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then shout out to Peter Hollins, 5 gifted memberships. Thank you, Peter. Appreciate it, man. Those memberships went to one of the names I don't know how to pronounce. Garben, Tyler Smith, Roman Barrett, and Bot. Bot got a membership from Peter Hollins. Thank you to Peter. And shout out to the Energy Warning for becoming a starter level member. Thank you to the Energy Warning. Appreciate it. All right. So, there's a lot I feel like to get into from this game, but I'll let you kind of lead the things. I have very specific thoughts on a couple of different players, but I'll let you kind of start things off. Where do you want to start with this one, man? I mean, Dame comes back to Portland. I guess, like some fans were upset about him not getting a tribute video, but we've already done that. It's the second time back. Yeah. That doesn't really happen his second time back. And there wasn't much of an atmosphere inside Moda Center tonight, man. I don't know how it sounded on the TV, but it wasn't full, and it wasn't anything like last year. Of course, to hit some shots, you had some cheering, but man, it was noticeably quieter compared to last year's Bucks Blazer Dame game. So it would have been kind of, I don't know, he wouldn't have gotten the same ovation just because the energy there wasn't the same, which is fine. He's still, listen. One thing I was happy about, they announced him last in the opposing starting lineup. So, I guess learned from last year. Fans got their ovation in, and then it was just basketball after that, which is fine. His second time back,
Yeah, I agree with what you were saying that you don't need a tribute every time he comes back. I mean, you can acknowledge him. At least they introduced him last in the starting lineup, right?
Yeah.
This time. That whole thing was it was kind of awkward last year how he came out. They announced him like second or third, and didn't have a video tribute in the warm-ups and all that. And we discussed that when it happened, but yeah, I don't think we needed a tribute again tonight. So I think those people are kind of complaining just to complain. But yeah, I mean, what is it about the Bucks, Tori? We just have their number. Like we should be 4-0 against the Dame Bucks. We blew a big lead in the second half of the first game we played in Milwaukee last year. But otherwise, we've won the last 3, right?
Yeah, that's 3 in a row, and it definitely could be 4 in a row. So we didn't have this much success against the Bucks when we had Dame. So it's very strange that now we have more success after we trade them Dame. And they just controlled this game in the second half, and I don't know why that is. Let me pull up the team stats from this game. Let me put it up here on the screen real quick. But I mean, the Blazers shot pretty well in this one. That seems to be a common theme against the Bucks. But it wasn't like I thought the players were up more for this game or anything. I actually thought the energy in the first half was pretty flat from a number of guys, not named Toumani Camara and Denny Avdia. But those guys have been huge for the Blazers the past 2 games. Competitive loss against OKC, and then the game tonight, a win against a playoff Milwaukee Bucks team. And Kamara didn't have the shooting night that he did tonight. But defensively, I thought he was a real thorn in Milwaukee's side and really did a good job of shutting down Dame, making him work for shots. Avdia the past couple of games with his scoring. But, I mean, you shot the ball well, and you killed them on the offensive glass. I think just watching Brook Lopez, man, yeah, he can shoot threes. He's just not the same rim protector he used to be, and he's just gotten even slower somehow. And the Blazers, with their youthful energy, athleticism, I felt like took advantage of him all game long. Against some teams, I think he's fine, but if I was Milwaukee or just watching Milwaukee, I couldn't help myself but think, man, they could really use a Robert Williams III, like a mobile, defensive, high energy big that can hedge, recover, play passing lanes, and all that sort of stuff, because Brook Lopez right now is just a drop big, and the Blazers, I felt like, did a really good job in this game of taking advantage of him. And then they've been able to keep Dame in check when they play Dame, it seems like, and that's also a big key to being the Bucks. And with no Bobby Portis and with Chris Middleton only playing 15 minutes, the Bucks just didn't have enough in this game. But defensively, man, they kind of struggled. I think it started with Brook Lopez, and Blazers made plays, man. They made plays in this one, so it's one of those games where it's like they play against a different team. They probably have a pretty good game when you shoot 12 for 28 from three. You get downhill all game long. You crash the glass really hard. You get 17 offensive rebounds. You know, Kamara was flying in there, and Avdia even, and Ayton got a couple. You know, I saw Ayton chase down a rebound, which was fun, man, I guess. So
He had some big defensive plays too.
yeah, I have my thoughts on him because the first half he was pissing me off, and then he had a certain play that seemed to wake him up. And we'll talk about that. But why do you think we've had the Bucks number? Is it a matchup thing? Is it just we've shot well, played well against them? Like, what would you pinpoint?
Well, I mean, especially now, I think Giannis had what did he finish with? I know he had an
39.
awesome first half. I guess he had 21 or something at halftime, so
Yeah.
pretty even both halves, I guess. More even than I thought it was. But I think we have the forwards that can guard him, and then we have a guy like Tamani who can give Dame fits, and they just at times do not have other people that'll beat you. And so they're not a team that's going to make you pay. I mean, I know Brook hit a few threes at one point, but for the most part, the Blazers struggle against teams that move the ball around and numerous people can make shots and make plays. And the Bucks just seem, especially without Portis, and I know Portis hasn't been good this year, but he's always a threat to score offensively. And so you let Giannis get his a little bit, you kind of contain Dame, and they don't have anyone really to step up and make us pay for that. And that's been the key, I think, against the Bucks. Against a team like the Thunder, for example, we talked about their ball movement and the way that like all the players on the court seem to be locked in and could either make a play for others or score the ball if needed. And it just feels like the Bucks are trying to piece together a bunch of players that don't necessarily have those qualities. And they've had some success. They started off bad this year and have reached they're fourth in the East now or something like that. I don't know about after tonight's game, but they've had a good stretch here, but a lot of that's just because of Dame has been playing really well lately, and Giannis is Giannis, of course, putting up like a historic stat line this year, and so they can get by with that. I don't know, you didn't hear the broadcast story, but they said the Bucks have the fourth toughest remaining schedule tonight. And the Bucks are also, I don't know if they said they're the oldest team or they're one of the oldest teams in the league. And the Blazers are, of course, one of the youngest teams in the league. So, especially when Jeremy gets hurt and doesn't play much in the second half outside of the first few seconds, it's a case where I feel like the Blazers just like out energied a team tonight, and that's crazy to me. Like, it just felt like the Blazers at one point just wanted this game more, and the Bucks just kind of were like, eh. And it might be just a veteran team thinks they're gonna beat the Blazers, and they'd always take us lightly because we're bad. But it just felt like it was like crystal clear in my mind that the Blazers just were outworking the Bucks and just like wanted this game. And like I was watching on national TV. This is our only national TV game this year, and the announcers, it was I forgot who was with Grant Hill, but it was Grant Hill and someone else, and they're all just gushing about how hard this Blazer team plays and all this stuff. And I just think like that's kind of a problem for the Bucks, like those young energetic teams that bring the energy, because they're kind of a slow it down, methodical, Giannis backing people down or getting into the paint and stuff like that. And the the Blazers, I don't know, they brought the energy, and we haven't been able to say that all year. But it was one of their best games they played, and I don't know if it's just the Bucks or it's just coincidence or not. But I mean, you can't deny that they have had a lot of success against them.
Yeah, the Blazers, the Blazers at times have had some really good effort games and at times have had some really bad effort games. That's how you lose by 41 to the Jazz at home and lose to a bench Grizzlies team by however many they did, right? So you've had some really bad moments of effort at times this season. You've had some really good moments. I think the energy, the effort level, the last 6 games has been the highest I've seen it all year for like a 5-6 game stretch, and it's coincided with them winning games and them getting back to playing some semblance of defense, because before this stretch they were like the second or third worst defense in the league statistically, and their defense was worse than their offense according to adjusted rating. So that's been much better. I think some of that coincides with Ayton missed some games. And then tonight, we'll start off with this, all right? So the DeAndre Ayton experience is something else, man, especially being there close courtside in person and watching his mannerisms, watching him like throw his hands up and like stare at a teammate like as a way to blame teammates, and then seeing him argue with Chauncey about something because he defended the screen as the pick and roll big on the wrong side for no reason. Like just all sorts of weird stuff. And there was plays where like he got a lay and he comes back and he's like kind of throwing his hands up and pouting, and it's just like, dude, you just scored. Why is your body language? Why are you so pouty all the time? Like the poutiest player I've seen in person that first half in like ever. I don't know, just so completely pouty. And then in the third quarter, he blocks Giannis. Body language is all of a sudden better. You know what I mean? Like he had an effort play as well. Like chasing down a board. I don't know if that was, I think that was first half. Like he did have a couple plays where it's like, all right, yeah, that's the effort we need from you. But for the most part, first time, just pouty. And then he blocks Giannis, and all of a sudden his energy's better, his mannerisms are better, he kind of like flexed towards the bench after blocking Giannis, and then at the end of the game, he's all like happy, dapping up everybody, and it was just like, dude, what, you just needed to block Giannis once and that fixed you? Like, I just do not understand him at all. But that, and when he blocked Giannis, I forget what the score was, but like his energy picked up, and then the Blazers went on a run. And it was like, well, is that a coincidence? I don't know. But there was just some plays where it felt like, especially with Ayton and his body language in the first half and some of his defense in the first half, where it felt like he was just sucking the life out of the team, and I felt like the team looked kind of flat. And then he stops doing that in the second half. All of a sudden, this team is just playing with a ton of effort, flying around, and it was just night and day different for him and kind of for the rest of the team. Because I think the energy level was better in the second half than it was in the first half, and that's why the Blazers ran away with this game. So that was my Ayton experience being at the game, man. I don't know what you could tell from TV, but
you know what's funny about that, Tori?
What?
He had 16 and 8 at halftime, finishes with 21 and 14. So he only had 5.
The second half better.
I know, he only had 5 points in the second half, was 2 for 5. Because I think he was 7 of 14 at half. 14 shots in the first half is crazy. But yeah, it's weird that you felt that way about the two halves, considering he was. I mean, like you said, he brought some energy plays on defense, but didn't really do much offensively. And in the past, when he only gets a few shots in a half, he's gone more the other way, where he kind of pouts and disappears. Not when he's getting 14 shots in a half like he did in the first half. So that's kind of interesting that he did that. And like, as part of the DeAndre Ayton experience, though, like you never know what you're gonna get from him. Like effort wise, it could be great effort, it could be non-existent effort, and it can turn from one play down the court to the other in like a blink of an eye. And it's that's why it's hard to ever consistently count on him. But man, he made that. The block that he had was just a huge play in this game, and really spurned what led to an emotional run there. The Blazers had several runs in the second half, but that one in particular really stood out as one of the plays of the game.
Yeah. Like there's some bad effort plays where like he could have came over and maybe blocked the shot of a guard, but just kind of like took 2 steps over and then watched the guard shoot in front of his face and then turn around and watch this guy get a putback. Like there was a few different plays where it's like, yeah, that's the Ayton. That's the Ayton we know. But I mean, the dude is just always going to be hit or miss with his energy, and sometimes it's fine and he's a good player and sometimes it's not. But the thing is like, even when his effort is bad, when he gets the ball, he tries to score. He's like one of those guys where he'll try and score, where his effort really shows up when he's not hustling or not playing hard, is on the boards and on defense. And I thought he was much better in that area in the second half. And it's just, that stuff is effort and energy, and everybody wants to score the ball. Even if you're not that interested in the game going on, you get the ball, you want to score, right? Everybody loves to score. So that's kind of like the first half. His energy was bad, but he got the ball a few times and made some middies and made some jump hooks and like cool. It didn't really seem to pick up his energy though. So it was just a fascinating experience. He had a good game. He's a big reason why the Blazers won this game, because of his scoring in the first half and then just his all-around play in the second half. So props to him on having a good basketball game tonight. Hopefully, well, the Bucks can't trade for him because he makes too much money, so never mind. I was going to say, hopefully the Bucks were impressed, but it doesn't really matter.
Maybe if they dump Connaughton.
Yeah, Connaughton and Middleton for Ayton. Yeah, there you go. But, chat, how did you guys feel about Ayton tonight? Let me know in the chat down below. Or no, it's not below. It's to the side of the video. To the side of the stream.
Well, it depends. If you're watching on the phone, maybe it's below.
True. And if you're watching on a TV, you can put it on the screen, which is cool too.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'll start a player of the game poll, and we can take a look at that. But
yeah, I wonder who that's going to be.
Yeah, who do you want to talk about next, man? We will just rattle through all the players, and then we'll get into some trade rumors.
Yeah, I want to talk about another key part of this game, and it doesn't. Obviously, the scoring was good, but Anthony and Scoot combined for 13 assists and only 1 turnover each, so 2 turnovers. So our two guards, our lead guards tonight, 13 assists, 2 turnovers. I thought that was a key stat in this game as well, especially in the second half. I thought both of them did a really good job setting up the offense and pushing the tempo. And we got some good baskets. We had I don't know how many fast break points did we finish with. We had 0 at halftime. Finished with 15. So
15.
The second half, obviously much better. But yeah, I was looking at the team stats at halftime, and I saw the 0 number, and I was like, man, that sucks. But yeah, I think they did a lot lot better with that in the second half. And, I don't think either one forced much in the second half either. So yeah, I really like the way they kind of steadied the offense in that second half. And then you combine that with Denny just getting downhill, time after time, just putting his head down and getting to the basket. It's really hard to stop that offense when it's clicking like that.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I mean, Denny just goes at guys. You know what Denny reminds me of, for real, is kind of a smaller Giannis. The way he'll just go right at guys, and
Yeah,
and
a little out of control, like be honest.
yeah, like out of control, but also not completely. Yeah, just some of the ways he drives at guys reminds me of Giannis, and both those guys were just putting their heads down and just driving into multiple defenders and getting stuff to go at the rim, which was cool to see Denny kind of match him in the second half because Giannis had it going. But Scoot and Ant, that dynamic, they passed really well. They took care of the ball. They ran the offense really well. The thing that stood out to me most, man, was there's just stretches where it just seems like Scoot's role and job is just to get the ball to Ant and then, get out of the way. And I'm not a big fan of that for Scoot's development, because it just feels like at times he's kind of a bystander to the offense because the offense is like, all right, go get the ball to Ant. He's going to come off a screen to the top of the arc and then either ISO or run pick and roll. And then if he doesn't get anything, then it becomes a broken play. And then, normally they'd find Denny and he'd make something out of nothing and convert, did pretty well at that tonight. But it's just in those stretches, it just kind of felt like Scoot's a little bit of a bystander, on a lot of these half-court possessions, and I did not like that. He still made his mark on this game. He still had opportunities, he still had some nice passes, got some buckets, but I would like to see them get him a little bit more involved at times where his role just seems to be to find Ant.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's that's his role or it's just him. He looks for Ant because
no, they're running a specific action to get Ant the ball, and he's just supposed to pass to Ant, and then Ant makes something happen. It's basically there's a little bit too much of that in I think the first half tonight, a little bit of it in the second half, just for stretches where it's feels like 4 or 5 possessions in a row. It's man, this dude's not even supposed to do much. So
yeah, but I mean, don't we want Scoot getting the ball to Anthony in good spots? Isn't that a good play?
I mean, it's not like Scoot creates, draws another defender, makes a good read, gets a good shot for Ant. It's different than Scoot dribbles the ball at the top of the arc, Ant comes off a screen towards half court, he passes the ball along to Ant, then gets out of his way while Ant kind of does the Ant show, right? And it's not like Ant did a bad job of making that work. It's not like Ant did a bad job of scoring out of those situations. He got scorching hot in the second quarter. So I kind of understand it, all right, when he's scorching hot. I think in the second half he kind of cooled off and they were trying to maybe force his own isolation game a little bit too much. I don't know what he was shooting at halftime compared to after the third quarter or whatnot, but I just think there's a difference, man, and that's kind of the complaint of the entire offense, so it's not even necessarily just their dynamic. It's you have a lot of possessions where the whole point is just to get somebody the ball at the top of the arc. It takes 10 seconds to develop. You get Ant the ball, you get out of the way. Which just kind of feels weird for your point guard, your prized young point guard, for long stretches of his role just to be, you get this guy the ball and you get out of the way. It's just a little strange to me.
Well, I think it's better than Ant bringing the ball up and Scoot just standing in the corner and watching Ant ice.
Yeah, it just feels like kind of the same thing because it's a very basic pass to flip the court. So Look at that, Chad. I left him speechless. Shout out to Starcadian. Shout out to Starcadian K. $2 donation says the flag is flying away. Yeah, this is not helping their tanking odds. We'll look at it a little bit later. We'll look at where the Blazers are right now. Philadelphia won tonight, so the Blazers still have 7th best odds, luckily. And you had the Raptors win yesterday. They beat the Pelicans, so not all is lost in regards to the tanking picture, but yeah, this latest stretch, winning 5 out of 6 games is never going to help you. Is this the first time? Well, no, I think they won 5 out of 6 games at the start of 2022, correct? Because they were 5-1. I don't remember. Yeah. Chat, you can correct me if I'm wrong, chat, but I believe they lost that Miami game and then they won the next one. Player of the game poll. I mean, it's a runway for Denny Avdia. We need to have a conversation about his ceiling. I kind of want to talk about a couple other players first before we get there. Jeremy Grant gets hurt in this game, misses the rest of the game. It wasn't necessarily the best audition for the Milwaukee Bucks, if that's going to be the team that is interested in trading for him. He finished with 8 points in 60 minutes, 2 for 4 from the field, made his only 3 for 4 from the free throw line, had an assist, no boards. I kind of don't blame him because he was guarding Dame and then he was guarding Giannis, but I think like out of the first 30 points in this game, like 20 or 22 of them were scored on Jeremy Grant, or Jeremy Grant fouled and sent him to the line. And it was like, he can't guard Dame and he can't guard Giannis, can't even slow him down at all. And, you know, Dame hit those 2 threes on him at the start of the game. So some of it was just like, man, he's just not the defender that he's advertised to be. He can have some good moments, but defending stars is not his role. He's not a good defender of star players. He doesn't really slow anyone down on the ball. If he's helping out around the rim, maybe some team defense stuff, sure, but his rotations are kind of slow. And just watching this game, man, just felt like he was kind of the weak link defensively in that starting lineup for the start of that game. And part of it is, who he's guarding. But it's like, all right, you got Denny, you got Tamani. Those two should be on Dame and Giannis. Grant should not be responsible for guarding either guy. Now, when you sub one of them out, then I guess you would put Grant up against Giannis, but he struggled defensively at the start of this game, and then he gets hurt, so not much else to talk about there. But he kind of got cooked at the start of this game, man.
Yeah, hopefully he's all right with the trade deadline looming next Thursday.
Yeah, we'll see. I think we'll talk about the Fox news. I think that could potentially affect, of course, the direction the Kings might go in, which might take a suitor off the table for a Jeremy Grant. But, did you have any thoughts on his defense, on his play in this one? No?
I mean, he didn't play enough to really matter that much to talk about him for too long. But his defense wasn't good in this one. It had been pretty good, I thought, with the starting lineup of when he started with the other 2 forwards, Tamani and Denny. So I don't know if it's just a bad night for him, but I felt like the 3 forward lineup had been pretty good defensively when he's not on the main ball handler. But tonight it wasn't great.
Yep, and then I guess we can talk about Denny now. So he finishes with 30 points, 9 boards. Really got going in the second half. He was kind of sloppy with the ball. I don't know how many turnovers he finished with, but he was cooking in that second half. Made some threes. There was a couple threes he made that I thought should have been and ones, where it seemed like he was getting hit on the wrist and just the edge, man. I mean, he just goes hard even to the end. You know, you like
he finished with 5 turnovers.
Yeah, 5 turnovers.
That's
like,
what he had first half.
Yeah, like I'll take that when he's scoring 30 points efficiently. You know, and a lot of it was just driving the ball constantly, putting pressure on the rim, and it was phenomenal stuff. So I think some people have said, why can't the star be Denny? Why can't the star be Denny? Why can't the best player of the team? Because we keep talking about how the Blazers need a star for the future. Why can't that be Denny Avdia? So I'll ask you that question, Eric. Why can't that be Denny Avdia?
I think it could be. To me, I think it's more like I don't know how to put this. I think his value would be better as like an elite 2, though, like a second option. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like I think you could apply that to anybody though. Like Dame
Yeah.
was maybe always better as an elite 2, although he shoots like 4
No.
threes in the first 4 minutes and then only 2 the rest of the game. Was
Yeah,
very
see,
strange.
I disagree with that because, like, someone like Dame, you almost have to have that heavy shot diet to be effective, whereas Denny affects the game and, like, with his rebounding, his playmaking, his driving, his scoring, his overall defense. Like, he has so many ways he affects the game, whereas, like, I think Dame, you're seeing him kind of go back and forth between, oh, should I be aggressive now or shouldn't I? And some players I don't think are good in that role. It's like someone mentioned him as being like the Scottie Pippen of the Blazers, Denny, and to me that's more likely to what he'd be than like the MJ, because like Pippen, I mean, now he doesn't think he knows his role because he thinks that they would have won 6 championships even without Jordan. Like, he's just gone off the deep end in terms of how he remembers that team. But like, Jordan was the guy and Pippen was the do-it-all glue guy. And I think Denny is perfect for that role. Not saying he can't be the number one option. He's obviously, since he's come back from injury, been our number one guy and been really good at it. But I feel like when you are one of those do-it-all guys, but not necessarily like a killer scoring wise, you're probably best suited for a second option, which can still be a star player. You can still be an all-star player on a good team. But man, we're just such a different team with him. So I'm not saying it's not possible, because he's looked really good these last few games, and the team has responded ever since he came back. It looked abysmal without him.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's the best player on the team. I think the simplest way to put it is like, sure, maybe the very best case scenario, he's an all-star player, right? Like his ceiling. But it's tough to bank on the best case scenario, right? He works hard, he has a lot of talent, but I always say this with Scoot and with Sharp, and I'll say this with Denny. It's really hard to become a top 20 player in the league. So that's where having a Cooper Flag on the team, where you can have about as high of a degree of confidence that he'll end up being a top 20, 25 player in the league one day, is pretty much any young prospect, and more confidence in that happening than maybe anybody on this roster. That's where Cooper Flag would be awesome. And then if Denny still develops into a star next to a Cooper Flag, man, then you're cooking. You're cooking with something. So, the best teams in the league, a lot of them have more than one star, right? We just went up against a team with 2 stars. We went up against OKC, lost to OKC. They have, in my opinion, 2 stars. Jalen Williams has played like a star this year next to SGA, and they're waiting on, I think, a 3rd star to come back, and Chet Holmgren, who has been really good before his injury this year and is just awesome on the defensive end and can do a lot of things for a 7-footer offensively. So you're just looking for pieces at the end of the day. And when I say the Blazers need to find their star, it's just like, all right, if that's on this roster and if that is Denny, great. If the problem the Blazers might run into is, let's say Denny reaches his best case scenario, he's like a true bona fide star. And I think his ceiling is somewhere like top 25 to 30 player in the league, which is basically all stars are top 25 players. So I think his ceiling is maybe slightly higher than that if we're talking about best case scenario in terms of him being a legitimate star. you still might need a number 2. Like, maybe that's not Sharp, maybe that's not Scoot, because for every optimistic thing that turns out really well, you kind of got to expect that other things won't go so great, you know? Like, nothing ever goes perfect. Nothing ever goes according to plan in regards to every single player on the roster. So the Blazers just need to find more pieces. And not pieces where it's like, oh, we got this role player named Jeremy Grant. We got this role player named DeAndre Ayton who brings in consistent effort. No, you either, if you're going to add role players, they need to be in the mold of a Toumani Camara or a Denny Avdia. Hopefully somebody that's like a lights-out shooter. If it's a different type of guy, you want a shooter. Look at Isaiah Joe for the Thunder. He's been really good for them because he plays his role really well. But even he gets after it defensively, hustles, plays hard, even though he's undersized. So, you know, that is a role that the Blazers are missing right now. But they need stars. They need true top-end talent on this roster because I think you got a lot of really good roles filled. Even if guys blossom, you're still probably going to need another star from somewhere else at some point in this rebuild, whether it's drafting one or whether it's trading for one. So that's just the context behind the conversation of the Blazers need another star going forward if they want to truly contend. Yeah.
I have a question for you regarding Denny. I'm not saying I would know the answer to this, or I'm leaning towards the answer being yes. But I was thinking about this. We see a lot of players. It's usually guards you say this about. But Denny's like style of play leads in a lot of cases to taking a toll on your body and maybe breaking down a little earlier than you would normally. Just that kind of Dwayne Wade, always on the floor, always bumping into someone, all that kind of stuff. Are you at all worried that about his body holding up if he continues to play like this for 5 or 6 years?
If he was dealing with a bunch of injuries, yeah. But considering he has been relatively healthy and he's not like a high flyer that's like falling from great heights, you know what I mean? I don't know. Like, I think he can get away with it. I'm not going to worry about that with him being 24 and hasn't been injury prone. So, valid question.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah. Yeah, like I said, I don't know the answer to that. He's like always falling on the floor after he shoots and stuff. Like, just kind of wondering. Like, we saw that with Roy for a while. And I know it had to do with him falling apart physically. His knee was already cooked, but yeah, just
he was very herky. I mean, he was very herky jerky though. Like he was very like plant your foot super hard into the floor and like accelerate the other way and then like stop on a dime. Like the way he played, you could see why he had some knee issues. I don't see the same thing with Denny.
Yeah. Yeah, hopefully. Knock on wood, Tori.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even like this. I don't like this conversation, but it is a valid one. It's a valid question. But I think you just hope like the thing that worries me most with him is some of the falls. Just as long as he, but he kind of knows how to fall. I think so. Yeah, I'm not too worried because he has a good track record of health. Knock on wood.
I'm not calling him like he's not fat or chunky or anything, but his body is like a little like beefier to handle some of that contact and physicality and stuff. So
yeah, it's the only way he could play the way that he could.
Yeah, right.
Because I was watching back last night, some tape of him coming out of the draft, and he had like all these crafty moves and stuff, but he was not creating contact the same way. Like, and he actually struggled defensively with like some stronger players just because he needed to put on strength, and I think he's added a ton of strength while remaining quick too. That's a key, and that's why he's able to just kind of drive at guys because he's as strong as them. And also part of it's just like you got to know how to dish out contact, right? Like, there's players in the league that are as strong as Denny Avdia. Part of it's they're not as fast, so Denny can get ahead of steam and use that to his advantage. And then some of it's like, all right, if they deal with contact at that speed, they're not going to be able to stay on balance. Like Denny has his moments of being off balance, but he actually does a pretty good job of like accelerating into that contact, not lowering the shoulder too much or using the off arm too much. He'll have his offensive fouls here and there. It's bound to happen when you play the style that he does, but he's able to kind of push that edge without crossing it, use his speed plus his strength, and then has good enough touch, body control to be able to like play through that and make it work. So there's just a lot of traits that go into the way that he can drive at guys, dish out contact, and make things work. It's more than just strength, but you know, I would never have him get skiddier, like, because then he's off balance on some of these contact drives he has.
Yeah, and I think it was you that was having a conversation in a group chat we're in about like Jabari Walker, for example, like bulking up and messing up his shot.
Yeah,
That was you, right?
His shot looks far different than it did in college,
Yeah.
man.
And we see a lot of players. I can't believe this hasn't been a thing with, you mentioned Jalen Williams.
Yeah.
The dude, his shoulders, man. I cannot believe that has not started to affect his shot mechanics at all. But like, so you see that a lot where someone gets like too buff and then they can't shoot or don't have the same range of motion in their shot. And that's why like Denny's like strong and big, but he's not like, he doesn't look like all, I mean, I'm sure he does, but like he, compared to like those guys, he doesn't look like he's all yoked or anything.
Yeah.
He just looks like he's a normal dude out there, like playing around, you know?
Yeah, yeah. That's the thing though. Like he accelerates into his contact. You kind of got to be a little crazy to play the way he does offensively, and he's a good type of crazy. He's kind of a maniac, man, and I love it. I say that fondly.
Mm-hmm.
Because, yeah, a lot of guys, man, if they would create contact, they just, if they try too hard, it's an offensive foul. Or they're too soft. Like, they don't know how to push that edge. And that's the best thing about Denny with a lot of his drives. He pushes the edge of, like, committing an offensive foul, but he doesn't. He doesn't. And he's able to, like, dish out contact. A lot of times, like, you'll see a defender turned, and he'll actually drive into them kind of with his chest a little bit, you know, and then, like, Euro step around them, that sort of stuff, where it's like he's not using his shoulder. He's not just lowering his shoulder and going through someone. Like, he just has a special knack for knowing how to create contact and get away with it, or create contact in a way that's not an offensive foul, but still being strong and forceful. And, you know, hopefully he can pass it on to somebody like Kamara, you know, or some other players on this team. And part of it's he's a really good ball handler. You know, he's able to kind of keep his dribble in those situations too, because that's another thing that is tough. So love the way he's playing, man. It was really fun to watch him in person tonight. It was a terrific pickup. I still hear some people saying, like, oh, they overpaid for him. It's a mistake. You know, Nate Duncan said that on his latest podcast. No way, man. No way. You got this dude for the 14th pick in the worst of three teams pick in 2029 in Malcolm Brogdon. At the time, I said, some people thought, oh, man, 2 first-round picks for this guy? That seems like a lot. He's just on the Wizards, right? And then he struggles to start the year, and there were some people saying, he sucks. The whole time, I was sitting there smiling like, this will be the one that I'll defend Joe Cronin on. This will be the trade that I will plant my flag in the ground and be a crony for once and say, yeah, he kind of cooked on this one.
Yeah, I'm trying to find the exact quote, but it was something like, Denny and Tamani can't be a part of our core or something. Like, what?
Who said that?
Dude? That Nate Duncan pod.
Oh, I don't know if he said that. It was like, yeah, I don't know exactly what he said. He might have said that, which is crazy. But
I'll find it here in a second.
The thing is like those guys are the only thing that gives us any sort of identity on the floor.
I know. And you can just tell when people don't consistently watch the Blazers, or like have an
Yeah.
understanding of our roster or like what our rebuild is supposed to be like. But
Yeah.
I mean, both those guys are what, 24, and yeah, there's no reason to.
Colt, that's not a trade rumor, that's an idea. We gotta we gotta label it what it is. Trade rumor is like, oh, this team is interested in this guy or this team is thinking about trading this guy. A trade idea is just the crap that you see that would have the Blazers getting Jaden Springer in a late first for Tamani Kamara, which is just awful. Awful stuff. They're not going to trade him. Like, this fan base would revolt if they traded Tamani. Or maybe Denny at this point. Like, Tamani and Denny are the only acquisitions during this rebuild where Cronin has made progress towards establishing a consistent product on the floor. Reese says, "Where are you guys at on Cooper Flagg's defense so far?" His defense is great. His defense is really good. I'm a little confused on the question because I thought it was like commonly accepted that he's really really good defensively. I saw some people trying to say Ace Bailey is better than Flag. No way, no shape, no how. The only thing Ace Bailey is better at than Flag right now is hitting contested middies. Like, Ace Bailey is more Jeremy Grant, where Cooper Flag is more, I don't know, just think of any all-star forward that can do it all and play really good defense.
All right, so Nate Duncan proposed trading those two for first because we're lacking picks and they don't fit our timeline, is how he said it.
I mean, if you're trying to make the case that our timeline is like 20 years old, then I guess, but I mean, they're still young. Like, that's kind of ridiculous.
He also made a comment. I have no idea where this comes from, that Tamani doesn't help us at all right now.
I think he means that in the context of like us winning games doesn't help us.
I don't know. I think it seemed more like he was saying that like there's no reason to have a player like Tamani on a rebuilding team. Like, he should be on a
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, basically like you're trying to lose games, he's gonna only help you win games, like, so it's like one of those things where I don't agree with the point whatsoever, but I kind of understand the point of like, all right, if you're tanking, if you're rebuilding and like trying to get the best draft picks possible and accumulate all these future picks, future assets, then Tamani helps you win games, so
Yeah.
kind of goes against that, right? So I think it was more so like, oh, the long game there, but I just think like Tamani is young enough where obviously he can be a part of the future, and he's the type of player that's hard to find and that every team wants. So it's like you're trading, if you trade him for a pick, you're just hopefully going to draft another Tamani Kamara anyway, if you're lucky. Like,
I understand the Blazers need picks part of this, and I mean we've been harping on that, but I don't understand a national podcast focusing on us trading those guys, especially Denny, who we just gave up two first for. Like, we don't need to replenish the picks we gave up for.
They were also saying, you try and hopefully you can get a first for Grant and Simons.
Yeah.
They seem to be a little bit more optimistic than I am about us getting a first for Grant.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, why are we even talking about those two? Why are they not mentioning Matisse Thybulle, Jeremy Grant, Anthony Simons, Robert Williams? Like those guys. Why are they DeAndre Ayton? Like, why they don't mention that much? Or they don't have the same focus they have on actual young players that are good for our core. Like, they don't have the same, like, oh, they need to get rid of all those guys so that these guys can flourish and be the leaders on the team. And yeah, it's just weird, man.
I hate the prospect conversation we have going on in chat, like a comment calling Dylan Harper a ball hog, as if Ace Bailey isn't. It's like, I don't even want to get into this prospect conversation right now. It's a little too early for that. But I'm not going to answer that question either. Chat's wild right now. Chat's wild. Let's thank a couple donations. Shout to Butthead Blazer Stan, $2 donation. He left two $2 donations. The second one has a message. He says, how to fit Kamara if Sharp, Denny, and Flag start. I mean, I think you could start Denny along with those guys, but then who's your point guard? Assuming it's Scoot or Simons, then honestly, I think Sharp, even under a new coach, might come off the bench. Or you bring Kamara off the bench.
Yeah, I mean, these are good problems to have, right? But as good as Kamara is and has been, I mean, you get an elite player. I mean, so what, like, if we would have gotten Wemby, we're worried about, like, who he's gonna replace in the starting lineup. Like, Flag is, like, potentially, like, a game-changing player. You don't mind bringing a Kamara off the bench if you have a Flag on your team, you know?
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, hopefully they do end up with a forward so good that Tamani Kamara is your third best forward.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a shot at Tamani. That would just mean we have two really good forwards. Denny's already one of them, right? Like, Tamani was starting ahead of Denny earlier this season. I don't think you can go back to that. I would be so pissed if they started bringing Denny off the bench for any reason. Looking back, it's kind of silly that he was being brought off the bench in the past, man. Now you got Sharp and Scoot off the bench. At least both of them did something tonight, I guess. But
it was Chauncey pushing the right buttons for Denny, man.
Yeah. Something like that. Chauncey's just pressing random buttons and hoping he presses the right one.
You do realize Chauncey's getting an extension, right?
That's my biggest worry with this stretch. Let's pull up the schedule. This is not updated for tonight's game. I'll update it for tonight's game because, oh my goodness, do we have a lot of green on the left side of this graphic. Where's it at? There it is. I mean, look at this thing. So much green, bro. This is strange. This is weird. Never would I thought when I created this graphic for this year I'd have only one row highlighted in red. But there you go. And it's a competitive loss against OKC, so who are you arguing with in chat?
Nothing. Aeromancer for the second time tonight asked us how many points Denny would average on the Celtics. And I was like, why is that even a question? And he said Murray on Discord said he would only average like 5 points a game on 15 minutes. I'm like, why would we get in an argument over something that someone said that's that stupid?
Yeah. I mean, okay. Arrow, not important enough, man. Who cares what he thinks? Like, you should not be annoyed about a random person on our Discord. Anyway. Yeah, that's my biggest worry with the left side of this graphic. All this green is the Blazers are going to look at it like, look at Chauncey.
Imagine what he'd do if he had his players.
Oh, my God. Like, that's the problem is they're in the stage of the rebuild with, like, a lame duck coach where, like, the biggest long-term things from a stretch like this is negatives. Like, they keep Chauncey or they make a move for a win-now player at the deadline because they're 6 games out of the play-in. Maybe they can cut it to 2. And that's the goal, man, just to make a play-in. That's what we should push for, right? So that's just my biggest worry with good play, man, is like the Blazers are going to put too much stock into it. It's a 6-game stretch. It's a good 6-game stretch, don't get me wrong. But you got a 47-game sample size this season, okay? You got a 47-game sample size that's much bigger than a 6-game sample size. So take the good with the bad. There's been a lot more bad than good this year. Don't overreact to a 6-game sample in regards to Chauncey Billups. That'd be ridiculous. So Eric, like, my gut is starting to tell me they're going to keep him. My gut, I've been teasing it lately, but my gut really is saying, like, man, he might be the coach next year.
Yeah, my only hope is that they mutually part ways because he is up for like another job on like a team that's supposed to win sooner rather than later. But yeah. I don't even know. Like, I always remember for Phoenix last year, I don't even know what jobs will be open this summer. I'm curious if one of those type of jobs opens up.
Yeah, we'll see. Not going to think about that more now because that just...
Yeah.
I don't even like thinking about that. Shout out to Peter Hollins with a $10 donation. Thank you, Peter. Says, made a little website as a gift for trade deadline for Blazers, Uprise boys, and community. Nice. Do you have a link to the website? I'd love to check it out. Thank you, Peter. Appreciate you.
Peter sent it to me on either Discord or Twitter because I don't think you'll be able to post that link in chat.
Or just post it in the Discord. In the main chat. That works too. But yeah, appreciate it, man. Thank you for the donation. I'm curious about what you cooked up here. End of the day, the Bucks need to do something. The Bucks need to shake it up at this deadline. They're too old. They're too slow. But also, Eric, like, Dame, why for the last 33, 34 minutes of play, why is he only taking 2 threes? You traded for the best shooter ever. And it's like, part of the reason why Dame is such a great shooter is he can hit difficult threes off his screens. And then it's like, he doesn't shoot any of them.
Yeah, I mean, this goes back to what I'm saying. There's times where he defers to Giannis. And of course, Giannis had 39 tonight, so I don't know if that's necessarily bad. But then it's hard to get in a rhythm yourself when you're not shooting that many.
But I mean, Gary Trent Jr. shot 10 threes today. I don't even remember him making a single one, but he was 3 for 10.
Well,
Brook Lopez shot 9 threes tonight.
What did I say earlier in the stream, Tori? We dared those guys to beat us, and they did not.
Yeah.
We purposely were like, here, Gary, shoot a bunch of threes, and he did not deliver for them.
No. But I mean, I would like to see Dame get more threes up because it's kind of ridiculous.
To be fair, he had been lately.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah, it was just weird though. It was like he wasn't even looking to shoot. Mm-hmm. It's strange seeing Dame like that, man.
I kept waiting for he had a couple opportunities to shoot like a 30+ footer 3.
Yeah.
And I was like, why aren't you doing that? Like it seemed like against Portland though in Moda Center, like you'd think he would do that a couple times or at least once.
His ambition is gone, man.
Should have pulled up from half court or something.
Yeah. What happened, man? Where's Logo Lillard? Bring him back. It's kind of sad, man. It's kind of sad. If Dame was on this team and not on the Bucks, would we be better than the Bucks?
Like if you
traded Dame back to Portland, no other salary, just like hypothetical.
Yeah. I mean, can you imagine Dame with Tamani and Denny and
dude.
Yeah. Yeah, especially if Dame never left here and it was still his team because he just played different, you know? Like,
You know what's funny is like, if you think about it, we we drafted Sharp when we had Dame, and then the way we got Denny, I know we used a pick from the Dame trade, the Drew trade, whatever, and then the worst of three. But like we traded 2 firsts, like maybe I don't know. It's just funny. Like maybe there is a path to like you could get Avdia and Kamara if you kept Dame, hypothetically. Like
well, I
obviously,
mean, we could,
butterfly effect, it would have never happened like that. But it's like Tabati was the 52nd pick, and then you trade
yeah,
2 firsts for
could've
Denny. In the past, it's like who are we drafting in the second round? CJ Ellaby. Who are we trading 2 first-round picks for? Robert Covington. You know what I mean? It's like,
yeah.
damn, these are the 2 forwards he needed all along. These are 2 forwards he needed all along, man.
Especially, see, this is where it goes into having a little bit of foresight, and that's because there was a time. I mean, Denny's always been thought of, or analytically been a good perimeter defender, but there was a time where he really struggled offensively. Like if you had the foresight to give the Wizards an offer back then, like would he have? Could you have tried him for maybe even less than 2 picks at one point?
Yeah.
But this is the kind of thing. I mean, that wouldn't have been considered an all-in move, but once we had Denny and you saw how he played and stuff, it like those are the kind of moves if you're not gonna like go for a Siakam or something in Dame's prime, like you pick up a guy like that and all of a sudden he becomes that guy. And yeah, so I think it's just the fact that we never really went all in. I mean, we documented that like crazy, but yeah.
Yeah. All right. Shout to Butthead Blazer fan. Another $2 donation says, "Can Williams and Ant still make sense for the future?" Are we ready to talk about trades? Because that's a trade question. Is there any other Blazers you want to touch upon here?
Do you want to say anything about Sharp? We didn't really mention him.
Oh, he made back-to-back threes, man. Made back-to-back threes and he was cooking early. 6 for 14, was 3 for 7 from 3. That's cool. 3 assists. Was a plus 10. Like he was solid tonight. He was solid tonight. The thing is on the season this is kind of an average-ish game statistically, which it kind of felt like a little quiet because he started hot, made those couple threes, and then outside of that, he was kind of invisible. But, he made plays when they came to him, which is all you can ask for, and almost had a couple huge dunks, which would have been nice. He's electric. He's really fun to watch in person, man. Just the way that dude can fly is something else. So,
It did, as who pointed this out in chat? Where is it? Oh, Henry Thomas pointed out that those misses on that one fast break where him and Denny kept tipping the ball up made his shooting percentages look worse than they were. But yeah, I thought he was aggressive in terms of looking for his shot tonight, but I thought he settled a little bit too much for mid-range shots in situations outside of those couple where he attacked the rim. But I did like that he did seem a little bit more engaged and aggressive tonight. Just didn't have like a monster game or anything.
Yeah, bro, we might have to ban people just for BS draft takes. I can't with it. It's distracting me, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
It means time for Tankathon so I can actually respond to him, right?
Sure.
All right, time for Tankathon. We'll take a look at the tanking picture. We got like somebody on 3 accounts in our live chat right now basically saying like Harper's a ball hog. and they're hyping up Ace Bailey, but it's like Ace Bailey shoots like 16.5 field goal attempts per game, and Harper shoots 14, and Ace Bailey averages less than an assist per game, and Harper averages more than 4. Like, just trolling takes, just awful takes, man.
Do these people who think Cooper Flag is a bust not watch him play?
It's
Do they not watch college basketball?
They might, but it's one of those things where it's like, oh, he's the number 1 pick. Everybody's hyping him up. Let me find something I don't like about him so that I can be different. That's what it is. Like, there's a lot of people out there where scouting prospects is not about, like, trying to figure out who's going to be the best player. It's about, how can I be unique? It's about them. They make scouting all about themselves. And that's why you see all the weird big boards on Twitter where they have some dude named like Hannes Steinbach at 9th overall, even though like he's a 6'7" big that can't jump or shoot. You know what I mean? It's just basically like trying to go against the grain and trying to be different and trying to be unique, trying to be special. That's what the Cooper Flag stuff is. Or it's people that discount him for silly reasons, and I'm sure you can figure out what reasons those are. Because there's absolutely no way, there's absolutely no way you got a guy who like competed and was one of the best players on the select team at Team USA camp going against NBA players at 17. And then this season is leading the number 2 team in the country. In 32 minutes a game, he's averaging 20 points, 8 boards, 4 assists, over a block and a steal and a half a game, and like has some of the off the dribble plays that he does, like always makes the right reads. He's 6'9" and barely 18 doing this. If you think that's a bust, then you're just trying to have a hot take. You're trying too hard to be different. And stop scouting to make it about yourself and start scouting based on what you should actually think. Like, because I just don't think, I don't see how you could watch this guy and think he's a bust. There's nothing statistically that suggests that. And there's nothing on the eye test that should suggest that either.
Like you mentioned, the guy's a barely 18-year-old freshman. And if you watch the game last night, the dude is playing point guard in the most critical stretch of the game in a close game. And beating a double team off the dribble and putting a perfect pass to a cutter in traffic. Just awesome playmaking skills. And how can you watch that and be like, oh, this guy sucks, he's a bust? Like I don't understand, Tori. Like, it makes no sense. Like, you're obviously just not watching these things.
Yeah. Oh, he's playing NC State. Okay, cool. He's had good games all year against better teams. Kentucky's a good team. He had 26 on them. Arizona's a very talented team. He had 24 on them. Like, I don't understand. He's literally done it all season. He had 22, 11, and 4 against Auburn. 3 steals, 2 blocks in a win against Auburn. Is that the only game Auburn's lost this year? Because they're number 1 in the freaking nation. Like, stop looking for ways to just discount them. Like, who cares if it was against NC State, man? NC State was a Final Four team last year, by the way. Like, they're not good this year, but find me another 18-year-old freshman that's putting up 28 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists, with elite defense and just dominating a whole half like Cooper Flag did against NC State. Find me another game against NC State like that from a freshman. You can't do it. So just stop trying so hard to be different. Like, he's the truth.
Also, if you're just saying, well, it was against NC State, you're not actually saying what makes him a bust either. Like, what part of his game isn't going to translate? Because people have said that all his, like, pretty much, like, every step of the way, it's like, oh, when he gets better competition, we'll see how he does. And then he dominates that. Yeah. And then he dominates college. And then people are like, yeah, well, he's not going to do that in the NBA. And it's like, how the heck do you know?
Alex says, I never said he was a bust. We're not talking about you. We're not talking about you. See, like, this take makes no sense to me. I'll be happy with Flag, don't get me wrong. I just think they've already made him a god and just don't think he is what everyone thinks. See, you're basing what you think off of what other people think. Perfect example. Perfect example. You're basing what you think off of what other people think. Because people have hyped him up, you're trying to do the opposite. And you're trying to be different. You literally just proved my point. Stop worrying about what other people think. Why would you place what other people think above what you think? Why would you base what you think off of what other people think? The thing is people think that having Cooper Flag number 1 on your board is just like, oh, you're just going along with what everybody else thinks. No, it's actually the opposite. Like, if you're trying to be contrarian, you care about what other people think. So, yeah. Anyway. Somebody asked, like, why we even talk with these contrarians, these trolls. There's a lot of people that legitimately think that he's overhyped or a bust or this or that. But guess what? They're all the same people that said the same things about Wemby this time 2 years ago. And look at Wemby now, man. Not a surprise. Shouldn't be a surprise to anybody what Wemby already is in year 2. He's an all-star. He's maybe a top 10 player in the league this year at 20 years old. So stop trying so hard to be different. Anyway, Blazers 7th best odds. They are 4 games behind 4th best. So you're still in range here. You're still in range. Brooklyn is going to hardcore tank the rest of the year. Like, Brooklyn might not win 18 games. They are already hardcore tanking. But Toronto is 6-4 in their last 10. Have won 4 in a row. That's a catchable team. Charlotte, maybe they're 5-5 in their last 10. I think the Blazers hopefully are locked into 7th best odds. We'll see what Chicago does at the deadline. But I think this is probably where Portland will end up, Eric. 7th best odds. Would you agree with that prediction right now?
Yeah, it's probably a fair bet, except for all the people in chat tonight have said they're going to make the playoffs. So would disagree.
The Blazers are 6.5 games out of the 10th seed play-in. 7 games out of the 9th seed play-in. If they get the 9th seed, they still have to win 2 games in a row to make the playoffs. One of them on the road.
Yeah.
So can we not, like, can we be realistic, bro?
If we don't get another pick in this draft and make the playoffs, we don't have a pick at all.
Yeah.
Can you imagine not having a pick in this draft? It's a rebuild.
Yeah, and then we face OKC and they sweep us easily in the first round and people start being upset about how we got swept.
They'll say we played them close to 1 game, remember?
We're celebrating losing to them by 10 at home when they didn't have Chet. Like, that should be a sign of how the first round would go. They're much, much, much better. We're 18-29. Why are we discussing playoffs when we're 18-29? Like, before the season, if you showed us this record, we'd be like, oh, that's a little better than we thought, but we still suck. You know what I mean? You're still 11 games below 500. You should not be talking about playoffs if you're more than 10 games below 500.
All right, so according to Desmond, we can start talking about it next game then.
Bro. We are 6.5 out of the 10th seed. We are 7 out of the 9th seed. Brother. 9th and 10th don't even make the playoffs. Okay? We are not even close. Stop being delusional. Embrace reality, please. All right, let's simulate it. Let's scroll up and reveal the order. All right. At 14 is Dallas. At 13 is Atlanta via Sacramento. At 12 is Golden State. At 11 is San Antonio via Atlanta. At 10 is San Antonio. At 9 is Chicago. At 8 is your Portland Trailblazers.
So Philadelphia keeps their pick as of right now.
8 moves up a lot. Maybe we do want to win more games so we can be 8th. Just kidding. At 7 is Charlotte. And at 6
Toronto and
is
Brooklyn
Utah.
moved up as well.
Yeah. 6 is Utah.
With
so
Washington.
no, Washington's 5th.
Oh.
New Orleans.
New Orleans, Brooklyn, Toronto, and
Philadelphia. Yep. So 5 is Washington. 4 is Philadelphia. 3 is New Orleans. 2 is Toronto, which means the Brooklyn Nets get the number 1 pick.
Congrats to them for trading for their pick back.
Yep.
Number 1, and then sucking worse than us.
Yeah. Remember when it was like we were basically neck and neck with them?
Yeah.
Now they're all the way up in 5th, tied for 4th. So that's cool. The problem is, Eric, while it says we're 4 games out of a tie for 4th, we are 6 wins behind Charlotte.
Yeah. Well, when you win 5 out of 6.
Be nice to be sitting here at 13 wins right now, not gonna lie. But this was a fun game to win. It's always fun to beat the Bucks. Anyway.
Connor says he's not sure I would lose sleep over losing our pick this year if it meant we don't have to worry about the 2028 scenario anymore.
I mean, there's easier ways to fix that.
Yeah.
But it's a legitimate scenario, man. I mean, I will laugh if the Blazers make the playoffs. Well, I'll be very upset. But like, if the Blazers made the playoffs in 2028, didn't have their pick, and the Milwaukee picks like top 4, and we can't swap for it, I would laugh at all the people that said we don't need to trade for our own pick back. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. See, I look at it the other way. That scenario would suck if it played out that way. But I am more scared on what Joe Cronin would do right now if we had all our picks at his disposal, like.
I mean, he can always trade a pick 2 years after.
Yeah. I'm just saying I feel like he
he can trade 2 first-round picks right now. Mm-hmm. 3 conditionally if that pick conveys, but it probably won't. So I don't know. The thing is, if he really wanted to do something with all those picks, he could probably find a way to get it back anyways. So I don't think it's saving us from anything. So, yeah.
Saving us from Brandon Ingram right now.
Let's talk about trades. All right, let's talk about trades. And then we'll wrap up the stream. Appreciate you guys showing out tonight. Numbers are nice tonight. Appreciate you guys. Hit the like button. We appreciate that as well. So, De'Aaron Fox. I dropped my thoughts on TikTok. So go follow our TikTok. The chat bot has posted the link a couple times. It's also in the description box below.
Tori looked like he's on his way to school or something with a backpack on.
Yeah, I was about to have my laptop bag with me, and I was about to leave the house, and I saw the trade news, so I posted it. I didn't even think about that. That's funny. This is why you gotta watch the TikTok. But yeah, so basically, I kind of misworded it. Like I said, like I guess the Bucks are in talks with other teams, but like Shams worded it like the Bucks are open to negotiating with teams or something like that.
The Kings.
Yeah, what did I say?
The Bucks.
The Bucks. The Kings are open to negotiating with other teams on De'Aaron Fox because apparently De'Aaron Fox has a free agent destination in mind in 2026. And my first thought was like he wants to go to San Antonio and play with Wemby. And then somebody who I don't know how reputable they are, somebody was saying San Antonio. Sounds like they might be reputable. So I have a feeling that's the team that he wants to go to. I don't know if there's anything else on that, but this is just another star name at the deadline that is on the market, and I feel bad for Kings fans, man. They make that one playoff run and like, oh yeah, we're finally back in the playoffs, and then it's just downhill from there. Like they're good. If they trade Fox, they have to rebuild again, right? Wouldn't it make sense just to trade Sabonis too and just completely start over again?
Dude, I don't know. I don't know if they would though. They're one of those teams, Tori. Their ownership, their front office, they you get these situations where teams just want to still win and don't want to go through a rebuild, especially when you're the Kings and you went through, what was it, 16 years of not making the playoffs or something like that. Like
They can't make the playoffs without him though.
these teams are dumb though, Tori. They think maybe if they got the right pieces back, they could, and they make a few moves. So I don't know if it necessarily rules them out from making another move or trying to stay relevant. Just like we talked about with the Heat the other day, wanting win now players over picks for Jimmy and stuff.
So the Heat maybe are a team that could trade for Fox, maybe as part of a Jimmy Butler trade. I mean, it's getting crazy, man. You're going to have some shocking stuff. Like when Horace last night was reporting a dark horse team might be the team that lands Jimmy Butler just because the price has become so low, which is not good news for the Phoenix Suns. And now apparently the Warriors are back in conversations for Jimmy Butler. It's just exciting because it's going to be kind of chaotic, you know. It's going to be a chaotic deadline. Also, I think until Fox and Jimmy Butler get traded, you're not going to see smaller moves happen, and I'm hoping it just creates a logjam of deals that go through on trade deadline day, since we're going to be live streaming on trade deadline day. If you're not aware, we do trade deadline live streams the morning of every trade deadline. The trade deadline is at 12 p.m. Pacific on February 6th, so we'll go live that morning at about 8, maybe 8:30, and we'll react to every trade that goes down. We'll have live Twitter feeds, so tune in. Yeah, I'll probably try and go live at like 8 a.m. on Thursday, February 6th. And you can hang out. You can get stuff done. If you're working from home or whatever, you can put us on the TV. If you're working out, watching the kids, I don't know. You know, you can put us on, listen to us in the background. We'll react when something goes down, so you don't have to sit there checking Twitter. You don't have to be refreshing feeds and checking your notifications to see if Shams tweeted. You can just put us on the background, do whatever you got to do, and we will have you covered with everything that goes down. So it's a can't miss stream. Anyway.
Oh, I was muted.
Yeah, you've been doing that a lot lately.
I don't think Michael Baldini says, I don't think the Spurs want to speed up the rebuild. If I'm being honest, I feel like they'd rather hit the lottery and pray they can get Flagg or Harper. Well, so they are in a situation, though, where they're already too good probably to do that. Now, they do own like the Atlanta picks the next few years, but, you know, Atlanta's kind of in the same record-wise level as them, so they're not really. I mean, they could get lucky like Atlanta did last year and move up, I guess, but they're kind of already too good to bottom out or do anything. And there's already rumors starting in Wemby's rookie year that they need to win sooner than later. So I don't agree with that at all. I think they would actually pull the trigger on something like that if they had to or had an opportunity to.
And Fox is still young enough that it's not like you're trading for Jimmy Butler or anything.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and I heard the other team was Houston. Would have possibly gone all out for him, and that's another
for
team.
Fox. Yeah.
Yeah, that might be the free agent destination. But I mean, most people say it's the Spurs.
I just don't see why he'd want to play in Houston. Like, I feel like if you're that set on playing somewhere, it's because you want to play with somebody the league has never seen before, you know?
Yeah. But I mean, by that time, Van Vliet probably isn't in Houston anymore. And no one's seen anyone like Amen Thompson right now, so.
Whoa, this website that Peter built is kind of sick. I'll put it on the I'll put it on the screen. Damn, Peter, you built this? Hold on. This is legit. All right.
Still working on it.
So it's like a Blazer trade machine. That's sick. So franchise direction, window, balanced future. All right, select trade partner. So you can select, like, let's just say Minnesota, and then Julius Randle for Jeremy Grant. Shows outgoing. He said he's still working on it, so it's still work in progress. And then it scores it? Whoa. That's cool. That's tough to build, man. That's actually crazy. I didn't know you were capable of this, because I've messed around building websites and, you know, looked lightly at coding stuff, and I'm a math formula guy, spreadsheet guy. This is tough. This is tough to do. This is just straight up tough to do. So props. I fully support your endeavors here. That's pretty cool, man. So, like, is this a spot track database? Like, where'd you get the salaries? Like, what is the data?
Yeah, it's been asking for the best website for salaries, so I'm assuming he's been...
spot track. Yeah, that's cool, man. That's cool. It's hard to bake in, like, the CBA logic and all that, so I don't even know if that's necessarily what you're going for here, but yeah, that's key upcoming dates. Hell yeah. I know, I saw this site. I was like, I wonder what he could have for us. Was not expecting this, though. It's legit. Look at our talented community, Eric.
Yeah. Good job, Peter.
Good work, Peter.
Talented in more ways than one.
I know. He's super talented. We can't keep up with that. Acapella legend. Website builder. There's probably a lot of other titles I'm missing. But yeah. Absolute legend. Membership gifter. That's a big one. That's a big one. You want that title. But yeah, I like it. I like it, man. I love it. All right. So, what do you think is going to be when do you... I'm trying to think of a question to ask you here. So, Jimmy Butler trade saga, do you think that's going to take until the deadline, or do you think that's going to be over soon?
Man, it's got to be over sooner rather than later, right?
If they're not getting much, then
I know,
that's
but
when you hold out, right?
Third suspension now, like it's crazy.
But the thing is he's suspended. Why do they have to resolve it now? Because he's not a part of anything, so you can wait.
Yeah,
if he's suspended.
No, I know you could wait till the deadline, but it's just for me. Would you just want that problem done with? Like, get it over with? Like, enough's enough in my mind. And the problem is, it appears that Bradley Beal is holding the Phoenix Suns hostage and will not accept or waive his no trade clause. So they're pretty much screwed from getting Butler, and that's where Butler wants to go, number one, and they can't do it. So I think maybe they're holding out hope that something changes with Beal, or a team emerges that he changes his mind for. But Without Phoenix in play, gotta wonder what else is out there. There was a rumor today that Miami was uh, potentially intrigued by getting Julius Randle back in a trade. It's like, why?
Yeah.
Like, this goes back to me what I said earlier about some organizations just don't know how to handle their situation or just refuse to be bad. And yeah.
So you're not saying that the Suns already won the Jimmy Butler sweepstakes?
What?
All right, I hate to do this to my guy, but I'll put it on the screen. Put it on the screen. Gabe had a video a week ago that's titled "The Suns just won the Jimmy Butler sweepstakes," and I was
Uh,
like, "Man, that's a little bold. That's a little quick. Don't jinx it, man. Don't jinx it."
that's like an Eric tweet right there.
I know.
What the
Learn
heck?
from Eric on what not to do. Yeah, that's funny. That's funny. I don't even know if he's in here anymore, but yeah, they won.
It was a little bit ago.
Dude, the Suns give the most freaking clickable content ever. I swear to God, man. What an easy team to cover.
So Yanni's in. He says, "I told you all when the trade happened. Denny is a stud."
Same.
I mean, we both like that trade,
Same. I don't
right?
know. I don't know if he's meaning that like I don't know how he's meaning that, but yeah, same.
Yeah, yeah.
Cool. We all did. Correct.
No, we appreciate you being here. I'm not trying to like disrespect you or anything, but yeah, we agreed that it was bad. It's not a "I told you" situation. We're two of the people who actually follow other teams and know about players like that, and
See, he might be talking to chat. Some
yeah,
guys will come in and say, like, I told y'all this towards chat when they actually agree with us.
yeah,
You know what I mean? So
right.
I don't know. I don't know. Like, yeah, same. I
But
loved it. Ask
yeah,
anyone in
like
chat who watched the stream. I was happy about a Joe Cronin move. That's how much I liked it.
I was uh I was more just surprised that he was available or like we could even trade for him because like after like you said his breakout second or post All-Star break numbers and just the way he looked,
Yeah,
I didn't think there was any way Washington would trade him. So
yeah,
I was just like kind of in shock that we got him.
yeah. There's a reason why we didn't discuss him in trade discussions when we would break stuff down. Like, we didn't think he was gettable. But wasn't surprised knowing that he was tradable or gettable, that the Blazers are the team that traded for him because they were going into the offseason looking for a forward in that archetype. Like, they were having dreams about Franz Wagner. So you probably got the best available forward for that archetype.
Eric Mentor, the mock-off season has no reality-based
Wait, what'd you
logic when it
trade
comes.
Denny for in the mock-off season?
I got like the 17th or 19th pick or something, and off Jordan Poole's contract completely, and I think I got like a future pick or something.
I forgot about this. I have to find this now because I'm just curious. I don't remember this.
I That's all anyone wanted to trade with me for was stupid Denny. So yeah.
Yeah. Somebody can probably find it. There are so many trades in this. Here, I'll even put it on the screen. All right. This is why you got to join our Discord, okay? For this reason, if you have no other. All right. Nope, that's window. That's the wrong window. Let's put it on Discord.
I got like Lonzo Ball's expiring contract and
Why would you
off
trade
the-
Denny for Lonzo Ball?
yeah.
This is why If you're not in our Discord, join our Discord. All right, we do a mock off season every summer. We get me, Eric, 28 other people. We each run a team. We run through an off season. We follow all CBA rules. And this is the result. These are all the completed trades. Each line of blue is a completed trade, okay? And then this was my masterpiece. This was my masterpiece. This was my baby, okay? Anyway, you can view this in our Discord, by the way. You just go down to the section that's 2024 mock off season. But where was the Denny trade? Was it at the start?
No, I held out for a while.
Yeah, which makes sense.
I think it was right before the draft.
Yeah,
you can't search.
I searched for Denny, and it's like a bunch of.
I'm pretty sure it was the 19th pick, Lonzo Ball, and like a 2028 second. There we go.
Yeah, you got off Poole's contract, but yeah.
I had better offers pick wise for him.
I would be curious to see what your best pick offer was. Portland didn't trade for him? They weren't trying to?
No.
I forget.
I don't think so.
We should reserve that for veterans only. Somebody that will actually like be savvy and make things happen. Search in the completed trades. Oh yeah, that's right. That's how you do that. Anyway, yeah, but that's our mock off season, and then we do a mock draft as well, or a draft based on all the picks we traded or kept. So that's always fun. I got my guy Stephon Castle. Yeah, it's always interesting looking. Trevin, that was a good pick, man. That was a good pick. Khalil Ware at 11 is looking like a good pick. Donovan Clingan fell to 10 and went to OKC. Portland took Reed Shepherd at 7.
Who was the Blazers again?
Chris S. Oh, he's a veteran.
Oh.
I think it was 2 years ago we had somebody that was kind of inactive at the start. Or was that me? I don't know. 1 year we had somebody that was really inactive.
Wasn't it in Barking Box too?
Yeah, I mean, we've done this for like 5 years, chat, so we've done this for a while. I took Grant Foster at 38. That pick is looking ridiculous right now. Ridiculously bad. Should have taken Terrence Shannon Jr., honestly. I think that was when he was still having his case, though, or else I probably would have taken Terrence Shannon Jr. Yeah. Bronny James at 34. Bronny James been cooking in the G League, man. He was legit draftable, even if he wasn't LeBron's son.
Yeah, I don't think he gets drafted if he's not LeBron's son, just because I think he probably would have stayed in college. But
he's like, yeah, he's good enough. Yeah. I mean, didn't Jalen Wells go undrafted?
Yes, he got signed to a two-way. Yeah.
There's not a lot of buzz around him until
I started, really liking him after our mock-off season draft, and then, between the mock-off season draft and the real draft, I'd taken a liking to him.
Yeah, and then I did a good job on missing out on Nicholas Claxton.
Who ended up signing him?
San Antonio, right?
That was it. Yeah.
I don't remember. I wish there was an easier way to search, but yeah, I forget.
Morning, Yaka.
All right. Yeah, that's our mock off season. You can go look through all that stuff, and you can actually look through it for every year we've done it. There's all these threads. Look at all this on the left. Look at all that stuff. It's literally like 2021. Yeah, 2020, 2021. 2020 was like in the middle of the pandemic when everybody was home. 2021, 2022, 2023, and then last year 2024, and then we'll add to it. So Yeah, that's why you should join our Discord. We pick people from our Discord, basically, as well as people that have participated before. So you got to be active in our Discord if you want to partake in it this year. So click that link. Hopefully that's enough motivation for some of you that aren't in our Discord. We'll take questions the last 5 or 10 minutes, then we'll wrap up the stream. The next matchup is against the Orlando Magic, who the Blazers beat on the road recently. So they're going to beat the Magic, huh? And then they're going to win one of the two against the Suns, and then they're going to be either the Pacers or the Kings. The Kings, that's trade deadline night, so maybe no De'Aaron Fox. And then, yeah, we're going to be... Yeah, we're going to win 3 of our next 5, at least. Easy money.
Yeah.
Easy money. Who's the Boomchi of this draft? What does that even mean?
Boomche.
Wow,
You don't know Ruben Boomche?
Oh, I know Ruben Boomche. I've never said his name, though. I'm not that old. I've just seen it. I don't know what that question means, to be honest. Eric would have to contextualize it for me.
He's asking what player in this draft is most similar to former Blazer legend Ruben Boomche.
Well, I can't answer that. Eric could if he wanted to.
I mean, I don't think there's anyone that could ever compare to Ruben Boomche, so...
Tori trying to... Arrow, you're not supposed to call it out, man. That kind of ruins it. Come on, Arrow. Let's see. Any questions above that were good questions? If I skip over your question, it doesn't mean I didn't think it was good. It just means I
Butthead wants us to talk more about his super chat question from earlier. We did kind of gloss over it, so... I do think Robert Williams could be part of the team moving forward if we got rid of Ayton. But the problem is you can never really count on him to stay healthy. So I don't think you should really count on him to be part of the team. So I would rather just deal him now or, sometime rather soon. I like Robert Williams a lot. It's just
It's extremely unlikely he ever contributes to this team in a playoff series.
Yeah.
It's just extremely unlikely. You have a greater chance of drafting the next Jalen Wells in the second round from a second-round pick you get from Robert Williams than Robert Williams contributing to a deep playoff run one day. And that's because of his injury problems. Also, he could leave in free agency by then. Also, he's kind of an athleticism-based big. That's 6'8", so he needs his athleticism, and the injuries cause that to decline quicker. So he just doesn't fit the timeline. He just doesn't. So I think it makes a ton of sense to trade him, even if you only got 3 seconds.
Yeah. And Anthony, I mean, I guess there's scenarios where he could be a part of it too, but I think if we're just strictly talking about maximizing Scoot and Sharp, we've seen games where they don't play much with our current lineups, and I think we've got to relieve the logjam of guards. I mean, it makes sense that you could have a 3-guard lineup and they all play 30 minutes plus, and then you could get to 36 minutes easily with Sharp playing a little bit at the 3. But yeah, overall, both of those guys I think could be part of a rebuild still. It's not crucial that we get rid of them right now, but I do think ultimately they probably both have to go.
Yeah. Yep. Shout out to MGJJ123 with a $20 donation. Says, thank you, Denny and the Blazers. It has been a fun 6-game streak. It has brought a lot of fun to the season. Probably will not last probably will not last, but gives us hope going forward. Also, thank you both for your work on this podcast. Thank you, MGJJ123, for the donation, and thank you for the kind words,
thanks, man.
man. Yeah, it's we do put a lot of love and care and effort into the channel, so always appreciated when you appreciate it. So I feel like some people don't realize the back end work that goes into the graphics and putting together all this stuff, and back-to-backs, man. That means back-to-back nights. My voice gets sore the second night because it's talking for 2 hours in a row each night. Like, it's been a heavy schedule, and it's going to be a heavy schedule up to the trade deadline. But we're built for this, Eric. We're built for it. Built Ford Tough. Not sponsored, sadly.
I'm sacrificing my life to get Thursday off next week, so got it all taken care of. Sorry.
Nice, man. Hopefully that's a fun trade deadline stream.
Yeah.
I'm just, that's the thing is, like, I want to see the Jimmy Butler saga, like the conclusion to that, but I don't want to see it yet. I want it to keep holding things up. I think that's a good thing for potential fun trade deadline stream. I want the De'Aaron Fox trade and the Jimmy Butler trade to happen that day, and everything to happen that day. Fingers crossed. But if the Blazers make a trade before then, we'll go live as soon as possible. And then if there's a Jimmy Butler or De'Aaron Fox trade, we'll talk about that in the very next post-game stream, of course, and give our thoughts on that. But yeah, it's kind of a fun time of year. The Blazers have won 5 out of 6, and you got the trade deadline coming up, and that, of course, is going to be monumental. And hopefully the Blazers don't make their trade deadline decisions based on this 6-game stretch. Because I'm ready for Cronin to do nothing and then reference this stretch in the post-game press conference. Or not the post-game press conference, the post-deadline press conference. But we'll see what happens, man. It's just always fun to anticipate the deadline and not know what's going to happen. And we just got to wait and find out. So we'll have you covered every step along the way.
Going back to Neil Olshey, it's always my favorite press conference of the year. Whiteside is the best center in the league. He's averaging 15 blocks, and why would we trade the best center in the league?
Yeah. Why wouldn't we want 2 starting centers for 1? Yeah. Anyway, anything else, Eric?
Thanks everyone for watching the fun show. Blazers, man, that was one of the most fun games to watch this season. And really cool that they showed out and beat Dame again. It was a good win. Just from a team perspective or watching perspective, we can argue about the tank perspective all we want, but it's still fun to watch them play well sometimes. And thanks everyone for watching the show as well. And hope to see you on got a bunch of home games still, 5 more on this homestand. And like Tori said, we got the trade deadline stream next week. So hope to see you all on all those shows.
Yeah, looking forward to that. And then shout out to the website that Peter made. You can check it out in our Discord. Go to the main chat in our Discord. The link's there, so you can check out that website if you want to. Shout out to him. Shout out to everyone who donated tonight. Your guys' support was great tonight. We greatly appreciate that. And then leave a like on the way out of here. Easiest way to support the channel as well. And we'll be back again on Thursday night after the Blazers take on the Magic. That game's going to feel just different. It's the Dame return game just has a different level of different level to it. So it was cool that they got the win, and now we move along with this homestand, and we'll see how well this team does the rest of the homestand. They've won 5 out of 6, which is crazy. So,
I gotta say one more thing. JP Savvy says, "How is beating Dame cool? He deserves to beat the Blazers every time for how he was treated." 2 different things. JP Savvy, you know us. You've been watching this for a while. How we feel about the whole Dame saga and all that went down. But he is on another team now, and we are Blazer fans still. We can be happy about beating any team, including one that he's on with Giannis. It's a good win.
Yeah, and like part of it's just, like showing him, all right, we still got some dudes here, man. I don't know. Like some of it's just like almost like a fun rivalry where we'll give him an ovation, but then we go try and beat him. And with it being one of the biggest games on the schedule, circled on the schedule because it's his return, it's a cool game to win. So, yeah, and we don't have many big games to look forward to over the course of the season. It's our one nationally televised game for a reason. So that's why it's cool. But, yeah, Shot Bay US, they're cool too. And we are out of here. See you on Thursday night. We'll have 2 streams on Thursday, one on our second channel. Link in the description box below for Picks Against the Spread. And then we'll talk about the latest trade deadline stuff, trade rumor stuff. And then we'll have our postgame show going live at 9:30 after the Blazers take on the Orlando Magic. And we'll see if they can win their 6th out of 7 games, which would be crazy, man. Not used to this. So, and then they'd only be 10 games below 500, Eric. Ready to make the playoffs. Anyway, until then, we're out of here. As always, peace out. Go Blazers!